Okay, so part two, again, faithfulness. What does that mean? How's it connected to the first part about being a servant leader? Um, well, if you're a Christian, here's Psalm 91. I find it particularly useful for this section of the Saturday session. Psalm 91 is this: He who dwells in the shelter of the Lord, shelter of the Most High, will rest in the shelter of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge. He is my fortress, my God, whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the follower's snare and from deadly pestilence. Little kind of old school Old Testament words there at the end. But here's the point: shelter yourself in God. And He's going to give you grace. He's going to give you mercy. He's going to give you rest. Trust in Him. During the 3 years that I really was deep in the pit of my addiction, I was the farthest away from God. I did not trust Him. I trusted myself. I had to go overcome a lot of my pride. I had to overcome a lot of my ego. And I guess what, I know that you do too. Now, it depends on where you are in your journey, where you are in that part of your recovery. Starting off, maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe further along, but still struggling. So those parts, wherever you are, you're going to look at ego and pride a little differently. But ego and pride nevertheless still exist. They're still here. They're still holding you back. Actually, they probably are the two biggest of the chains that are still grounding you like an anchor in this addiction. I often get asked, look, I made very strong, I'm doing great recovery, and then I relapse. Why do you relapse? Well, you got overconfident. You let your ego take over. You began to kind of edge yourself. Sadly, I'm not surprised with these men. And if it's you that can relate directly to that right now, I can say to you, I'm not surprised. If you are a Christian, this is one of your most fundamental duties, to trust God and to believe in Him and to follow His commandments. Now, God is loving and He's merciful and He will forgive you of your sins. He's going to forgive you of this addiction. Of course, after that forgiveness is received, you can't sin again. Now, how is faithfulness connected to fatherhood or connected to parenting? Well, it's connected to fatherhood because as fathers, we're setting the example. Remember, can we be the leader if we're not being the servant? If we're not showing in the most basic way that we trust God, well then what? Do you lead your family in prayer? Before meals? Maybe before bed? Do you take your family to church? And if there's a disagreement maybe between you and your spouse as to not wanting to pray or not wanting to go to church, do you say, no, we're going to, or I'm going to take the kids, or I am going to go? Have you ever done that? More to the point, will you ever do that? You see, once you get rid of your pride, and once you get rid of your ego, and once you surrender and submit to be the servant to God, and then you allow yourself to be in the shelter of the Most High, then you realize a very simple truth. There's that grace is so huge. That mercy is so big. It's so encompassing. You need to share it. You need to share it with your family. You need to share it with your kids. You need to allow them to experience God. You need to bring holiness into your home. And when you start doing that, guess what? Evil is going to start leaving your home. But again, it starts with you. Are you the leader? Can you show that you are being faithful to God? The God that has created you, the God that has given you blessings. Yes, blessings. You see, I was so full of my ego and I was so full of my pride, and I thought I could do all of this on my own, and I continued to struggle and I continued to fall and I continued to fail. And then I got rid of all of that. I still deal with my own pride and ego, but in it being connected as an anchor, as chains, I got rid of that. I replaced that with grace. I started going to church. I started reading the Bible. I started actually including my family in these activities. And I was able to start pushing away the evil. Was it easy? No. Is it going to be difficult? Yes. But as one of my mentors, Les Brown, would say, you have to be hungry. You have to be hungry enough to change your behavior. You have to be hungry enough to want to transform your life, that you're going to do this. That you're going to take that first step, starting maybe today. It's Friday. Begin the weekend as our brothers and sisters in the Jewish faith. Start Shabbat. If you don't want to do it today, Sunday. Start Sunday. Sunday morning. Instead of getting up, instead of being lazy, instead of watching football, read. There's lots of Bible apps out there, so don't give yourself that excuse like you don't have a Bible or you don't know where it was. You need to find it again. Download it. Start with Psalms. Start with the Acts of the Apostles. And then from there, just choose and then read a little bit. Go to service. Take your family to service. Be faithful. The more faithfulness that you put into your life, I guarantee you then, the more and more evil that you're going to push out. And it will support you being the leader. And your children are going to look at you and they're going to see a change. And they're going to be excited about that because it's different. Dad's different. Daddy is, he's more calm. There's more peace with him. He's not always yelling. He's not always grumpy. And you can have a whole lot of conversations with your kids. Special time, family. Specifically on this. So do this. Be faithful.